Okay, well, time now for a check of the top business news stories. Our business editor, Kate Moody, is here. Hi there, Kate.
Hi, Tom.
Let us begin with another shift in trade policy from the Biden administration. Tell us more.
The United States has today imposed and immediately suspended punitive tariffs on 6 countries in a long-running row over digital tax. The tariffs could still take effect in 6 months' time if an international agreement hasn't been reached by then. The Trump administration had announced a 25% tariff on certain products from the UK, India, Austria, Italy, Spain, and Turkey in retaliation for their plans to tax tech companies. The tariffs were never enacted. Similar tariffs were threatened against France, but were suspended back in January. Now, Joe Biden has rejoined international talks on a global minimum corporate tax. His team has proposed a 15% minimum. If adopted, that could resolve the dispute. G7 finance ministers could be making some progress at a meeting this weekend. Meanwhile, the United Kingdom has begun talks to join a free trade agreement with mostly Pacific nations. Since finalising Brexit, the British government has been trying to reduce its dependence on the European Union. The Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership links 11 countries, including Japan, Canada, Australia, and Vietnam. A new report by the International Labour Organization underscores the lasting effect of the coronavirus pandemic on workers around the world. On the current trajectory, there will be 75 million fewer overall jobs in the world this year because of the pandemic. When combined with fewer working hours, it represents 100 million fewer full-time jobs. The global unemployment rate is set to be 5.7% next year. That's 205 million people compared to 187 million back in 2019. The study shows an additional 108 million workers living in poverty or extreme poverty. That's a family living on less than $3.20 per day. The ILO says it wipes out 5 years of progress in reducing poverty among the workforce. Young people preparing to enter the labor force could face years of delays and disruptions as well. The ILO again highlighting the risk of an unequal recovery, noting that developing countries in particular are struggling to access COVID-19 vaccines.
We expect the employment situation will be worse in low-income countries. High-income countries will close the gaps the fastest thanks to their better access to vaccines and their strong fiscal policy support. For many millions of people, the working hour losses, combined with a lack or absence of social protection, have simply meant an increase in poverty.
Millions of Americans are poised to lose enhanced unemployment benefits brought in during the coronavirus pandemic. Although the $300 weekly top-up was extended until September under the $1.9 trillion stimulus package, more than 20 states have decided to cut off the federal funding early in the coming weeks. The impact will be felt by millions, as Luke Schrago reports.
For Maria Tejada, the pandemic provided an opportunity. An unemployed waitress before the health crisis, she decided to found her own business. Now she says it's under threat, with Florida set to end a $300 emergency top-up to unemployment benefits.
It's going to be very hard for me to continue pushing the business because that help is really helping me at home just for my regular bills, you know what I mean?
The federal government set the safety net up last year, including in particular a $300 bonus and special aid to categories of people usually excluded from benefits, like freelance workers. The measures had been due to expire in September. However, 23 states are ending the $300 supplement, stripping 4 million jobless Americans of over $23 billion in benefits, and 19 states are going further still, ending 2 other federal programs. It'll leave over 2 million people without any financial support at all from June onwards. Republicans say the measures are keeping people from getting back to work, with a lack of manpower across numerous sectors.
We got almost 500,000 job openings in the state of Florida. We're proud of the fact that we've got a lot of economic momentum, and so now we're transitioning from relief in the midst of a crisis to having the more traditional re-employment outlook.
That argument's fallen flat with both the White House and many economists. Fear of the coronavirus, the difficulties of childcare and low salaries all explain the paradox within the US economy and why it only added 266,000 new jobs, even while it had predicted 1 million in April.
The world's largest meat processing firm says most of its plants are back on track after a ransomware attack affected production in the US and Australia. Brazil-based JBS said it had made significant progress in dealing with the disruption to its servers. But the incident has further raised tensions between Washington and Moscow, with the White House pinning the blame on a criminal organization in Russia. Jean-Emile Jamin has more.
They went after our gas and they went after our hot dogs. No one is out of bounds here.
It was a hack designed to sever the meat industry. On Sunday, the world's largest meat processing company, JBS, became the latest entity to fall victim to a serious cyber attack. Now Wednesday, and most of JBS's plants, which were forced to shut, are set to be operational again. But for the heavily automated meat supplier, which employs more than 150,000 workers worldwide, the damage could be costly. Were all of JBS to shut down for just one day, the US would lose almost a quarter of its beef processing capacity. Even before the attack, US meat prices were rising due to coronavirus shutdowns. And ahead of this year's summer barbecues, the US Department of Agriculture estimated beef prices would climb another 1 to 2%, poultry 1.5%, and pork 2 to 3%. The attack has also shone a spotlight on cybersecurity, coming just weeks after a similar incident shut down a US oil pipeline.
Consumers are going to continue to experience more of these kinds of disruptions given the relatively nascent state of defenses in a lot of major US corporates and other global corporates around the world. We've got to demand more.
The White House announced on Monday that the FBI was investigating, claiming that a Russia-based criminal group developed the ransomware behind the attack. For its part, the Kremlin has denied any knowledge of the hack, stating rather it had even offered to assist the United States. This coming just weeks before Presidents Vladimir Putin and Joe Biden meet in crucial face-to-face talks.
French farmers have been protesting a change in EU agricultural policy, which they say will discriminate against organic production. In an unusual campaign on social media and in person, as here in front of the Invalides in central Paris earlier today, they're posing half naked. They say they're being essentially stripped of their livelihoods, and in turn they themselves are stripping down to draw attention to the changes, Tom.
They certainly had the weather on their side today for a bit of tanning, I should think.
Yes, not very many tan lines there.
No.